Hello, hello, and good day. I'm your Baker Patrick. This is the Fresh Baked Niche Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about emergency services shows. I like them enough. I mean, it started I think when I was a kid watching House and a little bit of Scrubs. It was good. Although I guess before going too far, what do I mean by emergency services shows? I mean anything that talks about like ambulances, hospitals, fire departments, cops, those kind of things. Where you dial 911 and get somebody for an emergency. Those are the shows I'm talking about because I know when I was trying to look for some refreshers, different lists had different things, and that's not very helpful. So, as I was saying, I started off liking these things with House. I think everybody likes House. Yeah, it was convoluted, it was weird, but the main character was quirky in the best way. The supporting cast were phenomenal. It handled things a little bit differently. I mean, how do I want to put this? It took very serious things, and it made them maybe not as serious. It definitely treated it treated any threat to someone's life as important as humanly possible, but it was allowed to still poke jabs at people. It was allowed to make fun of things, and it was just nice because of that. And I mean, I don't remember much of Scrubs, frankly, but again, I remember it being just a goofy, fun show. Not to say that they all need to be, but for that, it's nice once in a while. It kind of breaks up the tension. On the flip side of that, I don't remember the name right now, but that show that just came out last year with the doctor who can't see people's faces. I like that one. It's really fun. I like the characters. I think it's cool. These bizarre medical conditions that they're exploring. It's not just your run-of-the-mill, oh hey, this guy has severe alcoholism, but we think it's lupus, It's genuinely a 1 in a million type deal, which I'm sure they're going to run out of things eventually, but honestly, I'm of the opinion that you don't need every show to go on infinitum. I mean, that's just medical shows, and I mean, they're not all good either. I mean, case in point, I was not a big fan of The Good Doctor. Conceptually, fine. I just feel like the execution wasn't great, and I think it honestly went on just a little too long, but, that's neither here nor there. As far as fire shows go, I mean, I've seen a little bit of Fire Country. It's not too bad. The only other real exposure I've had is 911 Lone Star, which that show's ended, but once again, I don't think shows should go forever, and I think it was definitely running out of steam. And it's okay. It's okay that it ended, I think, the way it did. I know my mother was very upset that nobody died, because for some reason for her, if a show is going to have a finale, in her opinion, it should just be a big fireball kills every person in the main cast, and then it's over. I think part of that's because she hates reboots. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan either, but I just think that's really lackluster. I'm not saying nobody should die, because small spoilers for anybody who is interested in watching the show for some reason, but the whole thing with Tommy Vega where she had cancer, was basically on death's door, but then still recovered with almost no issues. I thought that was a little hokey. You could have probably touched the topic of death and just let it be okay, but I don't know. That was the only weird thing for me. And then, honestly, the thing that really spawned me wanting to talk about this was I was thinking about cop shows and how hokey they can be. And what I mean by that is, let's look at something like The Rookie. Nathan Fillion, good show. I loved how it started. I'm not loving where it's at now. I think mostly because, every character is the most important character for some reason, and that's not really a good way to do a show. Not to say that you shouldn't care about characters, but you start off with this guy. He's older. This is a brand new career that I'm not going to say he shouldn't be doing, but, it's taxing. It's a lot more difficult for him to do it in theory. But now he's just superhuman awesome man who can do literally everything, and his age isn't a factor anymore. And it's okay, so you can kind of view it as perseverance, but at the same time, what the hell? He's basically on the fast track to become the chief, at least how I feel. And also, they've been handling crazy wacky bullshit since season 1. I think that's where my issues lie with a lot of these shows, is the scope. And I'm saying that for all of them, the medicals, the fires, and the police. Looking at, in this case, again, using The Rookie, we're looking at LAPD. the Los Angeles Police Department, they should only be focusing on crimes within Los Angeles and to an extent. When they had like a bunch of crazy serial killers, or that time a bunch of inmates got out, why is it just on this small police force, which is weirdly, again, a small police force in the sense that we only ever see maybe 10, 12 people who actually work there, and like one of them's a prosecutor and two of them are like PIs. Very, very weird. But then like straight up in one of the episodes not too long ago, they went overseas to work with like trained snipers to try to take down some criminal organization. And it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Your average cop isn't doing this. That's not in their job description, and that's not something that'd be greenlit. I mean, I understand they're like super BFFs with this one small part of the, FBI or whatever, but it's too much. It's way too much. And I think that's where my biggest issues are. And with a show like The Rookie specifically, I think it was more for the comedy of it. Because again, it was this older, and, he's working with all these young people. His experience as being a contractor, he's never done law enforcement before, and that was the fun of it. Show him the weird, wacky bullshit that can happen, Hey, I'm going to keep calling the police 100 times a day because my neighbor, I don't know, lets their kids run out in the street. And then it turns out, like, they misunderstood, like, what free roam or free range parenting meant or something. And you can have a chuckle about it, and it's goofy. I don't know. I think when it gets to be what it's become now, where, they're just superhuman. And they're, because, like a 911 Lone Star. The scope of that show sometimes was ridiculous. Like, oh, hey, there's a chlorine gas leak that's literally flooding all of Texas and everyone's going to die. That is crazy. I mean, that is absolutely insane to get to. And the weird part is that came after an episode, like a season or so prior, where there was like an actual meteor shower happening. And like people were getting just obliterated by falling space rocks. But of course, our ragtag team was completely unharmed. But at the same time, the powers that be above them cause them the most grief. It's very weird. It kind of takes me out of it. And, it's weird, right? It's a form of entertainment. You want to kind of sit down and enjoy it. And I'm not saying it needs to be highbrow and very thought out, but, I mean, come on. I think keeping things within scope and trying to work around that is optimal, I guess, to put it. It would kind of be like, and this is just a good example, I think, what if, on an episode of House, there was, like, a patient who came in with some weird brand new disease, and they basically discovered, like, zombies. And it looked like it was starting to turn into a Walking Dead type situation until all of a sudden House becomes like the de facto person who somehow magically is superseding even like the president in power and can just say and do whatever he wants. And he also saves the day. Like that'd be crazy. That'd be absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sure some people would find that amazing, what I just described, but for me it'd be like, what the hell's going on? Because then for a fact in the next episode they're going to just forget about it. They're just going to move on, and they're going to go back to the random shit of, hey, did you look up their anus for toothpicks? Because they might have, diabetes 3 or whatever. Like, I think it's whack. I really think it's whack. But, I don't know, I like them as a mindless entertainment. I like to just sit down and watch them and just see what they try to show us. I don't like the over-glorification of some of it, because I am aware. There are not great people out there in these fields. I understand that there are absolute angels out in these fields. I know if they're out there doing their job to the best of their ability and to the capacity that they can, then it doesn't look like this. I understand that this is a glorification of it. I understand it's very blown out of proportions and it's meant for television. It's meant to get you excited and into it. I want it to be a little more fun. I want it to be a little more, I don't want to say honest. I just want it to be better, I guess, to put it. I want it to be more, I don't know really how to articulate that. I want it to be entertaining and feel good. I think, case in point, one of my favorite shows is NCIS. I love that show. I like the cast. I like that they can have fun with them. I like that they can be serious when they need to be serious. I like that they get in there, they do their thing, they get out. I think that's perfectly fine. I know for some people, the villain of the week type story is old and ran through, but I find it comforting, and I find you don't need every piece of media to be super highbrow, super integrated, and ooh, I need to be paying attention because this one little detail might come up in like a season from now. No, just show me some guy being a complete dickhead, and then show me the people coming in and stopping it. I understand a lot of people are not cool with, this superhero ideology, to put it, where there is a good guy, there is a bad guy, the good guy comes in, they stop the bad guy, and everyone for the most part walks away happy. Because, quote, that's not what real life is like. I think that's really pessimistic, and I understand that that is how things feel and oftentimes look. But I don't see why you can't hope for that, and also why you can't portray that. Why can't you show us the silver lining, That's about it for my rant, I think. If you enjoyed listening to me for a few minutes, for the few of you who watched this, thank you so much. Then, maybe consider dropping a like, maybe even a comment. And honestly, if you're feeling so inclined, maybe a subscription. I do want to say, as of time of publication, when this video should be coming out, I'll be arms deep into Gen Con, so that'll be pretty cool. And I look forward to coming back and telling you all about it. But until then, stay frosty, my friends. I hope to catch you in the next one. Thank you for baking with me, and goodbye.